I'm Dr. Gail Carson, the spunky old broad, and it's an honor to be with you today. I am so excited about this program I'm going to present to you because it's allowed me to live the lifestyle complete with the health, wealth, and happiness that I want, and I want it to be able to do the same thing for you. Now, one of the trips to my happiness is that little cat that you're hearing in the background. I have a bunch of pets, and they help me with my energy level and my stress-free living, and so you're going to hear them in the background because they've just got to be around me every time I do something like this. So join me on this journey, and we are going to begin. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to wake up every day with a genuine smile on your face? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to sleep through the night and wake up refreshed? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to leverage your true talent and make the money you want? And have you ever wondered what it would be like to say no and not feel guilty? Would you like me to share how you can do this? Well, you can have a no week without feeling guilty. Can you imagine that, saying no and not feeling guilty about it? You can also learn the secret of the me word instead of the be word, and why being a cougar just might be a good thing. So let's look at what you might discover from all of this. First of all, you might learn the cure for making you money. Wouldn't that be nice? And ask yourself, are you in a career or are you a jobbie? And of course, the joy of where your energy comes from. And I can tell you that the joy of where your energy comes from is the exact key that you have to worry about. So what am I going to promise you? Well, I promise you that at the end of our time together today, that you're going to have enough nuggets to begin your path to a healthier, happier life. So, what is your SOB factor? Well, I am the SOB, the spunky old broad, but SOB stands for spunky, open, and brave. And I'm going to ask you some questions. What does real happiness look like to you? What is energy to you? What are your real talents and strengths? What does your freedom look like? And what is a fabulous life to you? So, why should you uncover your inner SOB? Well, because there's going to be less stress, you're going to have a longer life, and you're going to have freedom. Do you know that only 1 in 3 Americans consider themselves truly happy? Well, you will have more happiness, peace, and energy, and you're going to have the ability to make money, get up every day to live the life you want to live. And who couldn't use less stress? Do you know that 5 minutes of negative thinking takes the body 24 hours to recover from? Who wants that? Well, the time is now. If not now, when? You know, I'm 77. I'm not getting any younger. How about you? I think you deserve to be happy. So let's look at who I am and why you should listen to me. First of all, I've been in business for over 55 years, and my businesses were worth over $50 million, and I trained over 1 million students. I've had everybody go from a Miss USA and Miss Universe to women opening their own businesses. I still get comments on Facebook saying, "Are you the same Gail Carson that I knew when?" And of course I am, because out of 1 million students, you can imagine. But also my staff. My staff did not open their own businesses until I sold my company, and then they went on to open businesses of their own. Well, I was also married for 45 years to my soulmate. I mean, he was everything to me. I lost him 7 years ago, but we were married for over 45 years. I have a doctorate from Nova Southeastern University. My undergraduate degree is from Emerson College in Boston, but I'm also a 3-time cancer survivor, and I've had 16 surgeries, so I know what pain is like as well. I was born in Albany, New York, and I had a wonderful life, but I was a rebel. If there was something to be blamed on me, it would get blamed, even if I didn't do it. And I have to tell you, in the majority of cases, I probably did. My father was a pharmacist, and that's really where I learned to be on the telephone, because from the age of 8, I had to call in his drug orders. And you can imagine what that was like. I mean, his handwriting was as bad as the doctor's. So it was a difficult time for me. But I've still learned how to be on the telephone, and it is a great thing for me today. I love to talk on the phone. I then became a singer and a dancer and went off to college and majored in theater, English, broadcasting, all the performing arts. Then I moved to Florida, and it was an interesting time for me because I was only 20 years old, and within 8 months, I owned a business that I went to work for. But I also had a lot of tragedy in my life as well. My husband and I owned $10 million worth of real estate. And guess what happened? When the real estate market collapsed, my husband died within 1 week. And it all happened at the same time. How did I get through it? Well, I got through it with my system. And that's why this is so important to me, because whatever you are going through, I want to impart this to you because it's made such a difference in my life, and I know it will make a difference in yours as well. So when we look back, at all the things that have happened, I lost a son, a husband, breast cancer, surgeries, a real estate market collapse. I had to learn how to survive all over again, and that is what I've done. So let's look at what happiness really is. And to me, it's freedom. And I hope that's what it is to you too as well, because happiness does equal freedom, and it makes a tremendous difference. So let's look at the challenges that you have. I know that you want work-life balance. Now that's different for everybody. But whatever it is for you, I want you to achieve that. I also know you want to stay well, and I know you want financial freedom. Maybe you want to drop 20 pounds or add $10,000 to your bank account. Or you may even be in an unhappy marriage, or your kids might be giving you problems. But what you're looking for is balance, and that is always changing. So let's look at what I'm going to offer you. And that's reinvention. Reinvention from the inside out. So what does that really mean? Well, it's going to give you insights, it's going to give you direction, and most important, it's going to give you results. Let's look at the bigger reason. I'm doing this because I want every woman over the age of 50 to know and understand what your divine purpose is in life. And I want you to create your own personal happiness and soar to your highest potential. That's the key to everything. So what's so different about the SOB factor and your SOB factor? Well, it's a defined blueprint. It's a strategy to implement and a personal results planning session. And that's why I need you to really pay attention to what I'm going to say. Let's look at some myths. Well, first of all, a myth is, how can a 77-year-old woman share any ideas with me? Well, I have to tell you something. I am constantly reinventing myself with books and seminars. Just this week, I've had a full week where I wasn't traveling, and I spent 10 hours a day, each day, studying 3 new courses so that I can keep up with everything that's going on out there. So you're getting the value of everything that I am learning and doing and experiencing, and that's a very important thing. Secondly, you might say, it costs too much for health and happiness. Well, having gone through everything I've gone through, I can tell you that it costs at least $250,000 for one cancer treatment, and you can't equate health and happiness with money. And the last thing is that the same old stuff doesn't work. Well, that's why you have to keep learning and experimenting. But I'm going to bring you this information. You don't have to spend your dollars to get it. It's going to come from me to you. And that's a very important thing. So let's look at the 5 simple steps to success. First of all, take stock in you. What are your strengths? Don't pay attention to your weaknesses. You know, it used to be that they said, work on your weaknesses because you're going to need to do that. Well, in today's world, no. You work on your strengths, and if you are weak in certain areas, you get someone else to do them for you. So take stock in you, figure out what is great about you, and go from there. Don't listen to the naysayers. And 3, it's very important to stop the excuses. 4th, you've got to put on your big girl panties. And 5, smile, celebrate, and live your dream. So let's look at number 1, taking stock in you. Taking stock in you is, first of all, evaluating your personal wealth. And by your personal wealth, I don't mean the dollar signs. I mean your own personality, your own friends, your own family, your own surroundings. What are the things that make you personally wealthy? That's a very important thing. Who you are and what turns you on. Secondly, admit where you rank in your own hierarchy. Are you important enough to you that you've learned to say no and that you are able to celebrate what's going to happen in your future? And thirdly, explain your threshold of no. You know, you're going to have a lot of situations where you are going to get involved with things where you're going to say, I can't say no. Well, yes, you can. And you can do it without feeling guilty about it. You just have to establish your guidelines and what you are going to take into your own life to make it what we said, happiness equals freedom. Number 2, don't listen to those naysayers. They're all around you. They are there and they are going to constantly get involved in your opinions and what you do. So number 1, you've got to say your affirmations each morning. But it's not just saying them. It's believing them. It's doing them. It's living them. All of that. If you aren't, just saying the words are not going to do it. You must absolutely do this every single day. Secondly, you have to prepare for the responses because you know that there's going to be all kinds of people saying, you can't do that. You're not ready for that. You know, that is something that you have to just accept. If you're at top, you know, you're on the top, people are going to try to tear you down all the time. You've just got to be prepared for it. That's what you have to do. And thirdly, change your own reaction. You know, evaluate your personality and figure out what it is that you need to do so that you don't feel guilty from these different responses. Now, third, we have to make sure that you stop the excuses. Now, let's face it, you're the ones that are saying this all the time. The blame game. What about the blame game? Who do you blame for this? You know, it doesn't matter who has done what to you. If you accept yourself as the victim, you will be the victim. So make sure that you really take a look at this and say, who is playing the blame game? Which leads me to, who's the enabler? Are you the enabler? Are you the one that says, oh, sure, I'll be happy to do that? Or, oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll take that on. If you are saying yes to everything and you agree when anybody asks you to do something, and that includes babysitting all the time, if someone says, now it's one thing if you want to do it, but if you're the person that your family always comes to because you're the one that will say yes, then you have to ask yourself, who's the enabler? And then, of course, the last one is no more victim scenario. Not at all. So, number 4 says, put on your big girl panties. Well, you know what that means. That means, first of all, face your fears. What are your fears? What are you afraid of? Is there someone you're afraid of? Is there something you're afraid of? Face your fears. It's not easy. I face fears every single day, and every single day new fears pop up, but you've got to face them. And there are ways that you can learn to do that, and we're going to help you. Find your strengths. I talked about that earlier. Make a list of your strengths. And if you don't know them, I can tell you your friends do. Go to your friends, your family, and say, what do you see are my biggest strengths? And they'll tell you. And things you don't think of as strengths, they think are fabulous. So you need to be a part of that. And then lastly, fight the brain drain. You know, what's taking the time away from you, from your thoughts, from your energy? Fight that. And remember, you continually learn something new every day. Number 5 is smile, celebrate, and live your dream. Well, how do you do that? First of all, I'm going to suggest having a live retreat. Now, when we talk about a live retreat, listen to this. This is very interesting how to do this. You can take a mental or mini vacation. Just go off in your mind and picture yourself in your favorite spot or even your favorite imaginary spot. Maybe you could even be in a hammock being swung by your favorite fantasy. Think about that. If you just did that for 5 minutes, think how you would come back and feel so refreshed and energized. Second of all, write a triumph list. I call it a ta-da list. You know, what are the things that make you feel really terrific about everything that you do? You know what I do every night? I write in my journal and I say, what were the best things that happened to me today? And then I write a big thought. What was the transforming thought for the day? And you would think at 77 there would be no more transforming thoughts, but I have them every single day. And lastly, celebrate with your friends or loved ones. My gosh, who else should you be with than your best friends or the people who you love? And draw them closest to you. You know, so many times we don't really think about celebrating because this is just a day. I mean, what is there to celebrate? When you accomplish something, I want you to run around, be excited, celebrate, scream, do whatever it is you have to do. So, would you like to be my next success story? That's the key. If you would like to be my next success story, let me tell you how we're going to do it. We're going to do it with the reinvention from the inside out system, the one that gives you insights, direction, and results. So let's take a look at that now. What does that mean? Well, reinvention from the inside out system means reduce stress, and we already know how important that is. And of course, we know that stress is the biggest cause of illness. So that's important, and we are going to work on that. Financial independence. That gives you control. When you are financially independent, nobody can tell you what to do. Powerful relationships, those are the ones that bring you joy and happiness. And of course, limits without guilt. You know, we've already talked about don't do anything that makes you unhappy. And of course, that leads to a fulfilling life. So let's look at the business reinvention. Time management. I mean, we talk about time management all the time. Where does my time go? How can I possibly get everything done? Well, we're going to give you a system where you're going to find out how you can discover 22 extra days a year. It is amazing, but it works, believe it or not. So this system that I'm going to show you is going to make you aware of where your time should be going and should not be going. And it's going to show you how to pick up those extra 30 minutes a day, which ends up giving you 22 extra days a year. Now, in the work world, that equals a full month. If you are in a retirement or you are in a situation where you're working part-time, it's going to be just 22 extra days that you can put into your life that you can fill with joy and happiness. Then let's look at the next one, which is the ultimate leverage of prioritization and delegation. Now, I've got to tell you something. This is so important, and I need to give you a definition of delegation because delegation is misunderstood. Delegation is not, do you do it like I do? Delegation is, do you do it well enough? That's the key. And I'll give you an example of way back when. You know, I had 3 children, and I had a lot of animals. When they were home, I had 5 dogs and 3 cats, so you can imagine. And they had the job of feeding the animals. And No, they did not mix the food like I did. And guess what? The dogs didn't care. I mean, cats eat at their leisure, but dogs gobble everything up. And they put that food down and it was gone. No, they didn't do it the way I did, but guess what? It was okay. I asked them to keep their room clean. I asked them to make their beds. Were their beds made the way I wanted them made? No. But were they made good enough? You bet. For them, it was their room. So delegation is key, but it doesn't have to be done like you do it, and we'll talk about that. Prioritization also is a part of it. Too many of us like to have a list, our to-do list, and then we write everything down and we want to cross it all off, but that doesn't mean we're doing the most important thing. So prioritization is a skill, and we're going to teach you how to do that. Now, another part of business reinvention is marketing and PR with pizzazz. And I can tell you that everybody is in the marketing business. I don't care what business you're in, but you are marketing it. If people don't know about it, you're not going to have a business. PR is getting that word out about you, and that's not just writing a press release. It's networking, and it's how to network, and that's why they used to call me, as a matter of fact, the whiz of biz, because I was an expert at marketing and PR. So I'm going to work with you on that, and that's very important. And then, of course, the next one is increase sales and cash flow. I mean, everybody wants that. Everybody wants cash flow. Everybody wants more sales or a deeper depth of sales. So we're going to work on all of this as part of your business reinvention. So let's look at these again. From the inside out, insights, direction, and results. For personal reinvention, you've got the power relationships, you've got mindset, which is attitude and spirit. We're going to spend a lot of time on these things. Happiness, how to energize your life. Your health and your wellness, being fit and fabulous. Prosperity, freedom, and legacy. Wow, isn't that amazing? I mean, I work on all of these every single day, and they are so important, but that's going to help you reinvent yourself from the inside out. It's so important. Power relationships, mindset, happiness, health and wellness, prosperity, all of these, personal reinvention. And if you're in business, we'll work on your business reinvention, which is the time management on how to discover 22 extra days a year. And of course, prioritization and delegation, marketing and PR with pizzazz, and increased sales and cash flow. Those are all key. So, if all we did was give you a life full of happiness and freedom, if all we did was show you how to pick up 22 more 8-hour days, if all we did was show you how to have a closer relationship with family and children, if all we did was help you find happiness and prosperity and leave a legacy, would it be worth it? Well, my promise to you is that by the end of our time together, you will have enough nuggets to begin your path to a healthier, happier, wealthier life. When you do this consultation, you're going to get these 3 wonderful gifts. Are you worth the investment? I've already shared the nuggets with you, and now you have to decide. We can talk for 30 minutes and really zero in on the issues you have and the direction you'd like to take, or anything that keeps you from your greatness, with a special offer of just $47 for a 30-minute conversation. I mean, I can tell you for 30 minutes I charge a lot more than that, but this is so important to me because I want you to have the life you want and the health, wealth, and happiness that you crave. So if you talk with me for 30 minutes for just $47, I will zero in on your particular needs. This is an individual call where we will talk about your needs, your fears, your strengths, where you want to go. We'll get a lot done in that 30 minutes. So I hope that many of you will sign up on that form that is popping up on your screen right now. However, you can also join a small coaching group on the 9 secrets to your happiness for 6 weeks and just $297. And you're going to find that on my website, spunkyoldbroad.com. So I want you to think about this. Would you prefer to talk with me for $47 for 30 minutes? Or would you rather go into a small group coaching sessions for 6 weeks where you're going to learn your 9 secrets to your happiness for just $297? I'm going to leave that up to you. But whenever you sign up for either of these, you are going to get some wonderful bonuses. You're going to get the SOB Factor Personality Test, which is the #1 strategy test for finding out who you really are. And you will also get a copy of my best-selling book, Winning Ways, How to Get to the Top and Stay There, which was featured in 13 countries. So let's take a look at what you need to do next, because this is my saying. Women over 50 are just like fine wine. They get better and bolder with age. So I look forward to working with all of you, and I left you with this wonderful quote. I want to thank you all for joining me. I will look forward to talking with you very soon, and go out there and have that healthy, wealthy, wonderful life that you deserve and that you are going to get. Thanks for being with me today. This is Dr. Gail Carson, SOB, Spunky Old Broad.